Hey, yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gon' stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. Everybody sing, hey, yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call.
What's up, y'all? I'm coming out with another part to what if Naruto was an assassin, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, let me just explain some things of how the second part of the story is going to go. Because I'm going to change things quite a bit. Some members of the Elite 7 are alive. Who is alive and what side they're going to be on, I don't know yet. And ideas could help in the comments, so yeah. And also the Sound Village will be Night Raid's information place and gain information for anything that happens in the Eastern Lands. And for the Akatsuki, most of the members still went with Obito or fake Madara to capture all the Jinchurikis for the Moon Eye plan. But for the others members, there are good work with Night Raid to trade information and missions to help fund each other. Now, with that being said, there's just a little bit of context of what this story is going to go by. And so, let me start the video. 10 years. 10 long years. It's been a lot of things that's happened. And the Empire was finally done with its corruption. All the members who used to support those ways just stopped. And the corruption ended around 2 years ago. With a lone assassin from Night Raid killed the Prime Minister Honest for his crimes, ending the Civil War, and was seen as a hero by the people. This caused the Empire to start on a more peaceful path, and later open, many dark secrets to kill or captured. The Revolutionary Army and all their assassin groups were granted pardons to join the Empire and help the whole Western lands build a more peaceful era with each other. And the Empire soon had two main groups that helped the peace throughout the whole kingdom to the Western lands. Night Raid and the Jaegers, I think how you say it. I can never say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. The Central Empire. In the main kingdom of the Empire, and at the throne room, Emperor Makato. This isn't Sasuke's mom, Makato. This is just a dude I created for this story. Anyway, Emperor Makato was seen talking to one of his spies about some information that was happening in the Eastern Lands. The Emperor was young and was watched by his new and most trusted Prime Minister, which he was nowhere to be seen, yet will be joining very soon. I see. Thank you. Please, tell my friend that I thank her for the information and hope we can meet in person one day, Makato said, thanking the ninja spy for the information he was given. You're welcome, young Emperor, the black-cloth ninja said before disappearing in the smoke to take his leave. Makato sighed at the information he was given from his spies. Well, not his spies, and I will explain very soon. Now, this chick that I'm talking about is Orochimaru, leader of the Sound Village. Was allied with Night Raid during the corruption era, and they traded information for no prices at all, which was very good on their part. Now that they give information to the Empire, since the West is in an era of peace, the people in the Sound give the information that has no need to question, and a big piece of information has arrived that made the young emperor worry. My emperor, sorry if I'm late. I just finished my last class of the day, a voice said, getting Mikado's attention to look at his prime minister that just entered the room. Now, the prime minister was, Run. I don't know if you remember Run, but yeah, I think he was like an assistant of Estef or something, if I remember that or not. But hey, that's fine, Run. I just finished my meeting with Orochimaru's spies. Mikado waved off with a smile on his face, but was in trouble with the information he was given. I, I see. Is there a problem, Emperor Mikado? When Orochimaru gives her information, it normally is good news or trading information that the Empire could use. But it seems that you're in trouble. What is it? Ron asked, seeing the young Emperor was indeed trouble with the news. Knowing he couldn't find out, and was never a person to lie, Mikado sighed and said, please bring me the North team from Rosie Village. General Najeda, uh, yeah, I think, and General Estef. This information I have is important, and more for them to hear it. Ron nodded his head and started to take his leave to send a message bird to summon the people the Emperor requested. Knowing what information was now and how important it was to summon some members of Night Raid and two generals proves the information that the Emperor has was important and that all that matters at this point. Now, let me just say that Rosie Village is near the southwest border of the capital. Within a rocky village, a group was training to build up their strength and skills to survive for anything in the wild. And the sounds of fighting could be heard as the training was going on. 3 students were sparring against their teachers, or I should say teacher, to test themselves and improve themselves. Now I'm just gonna say they're like 3 girls there, and there are 3 characters I'm completely making up in this story. So yeah, and so yeah, they're throwing good hands with their teacher. All right, that'll be it for today. Let's check in. Let's check on the baits and head on. The teacher of the girls said. Being a male voice caused the girls to sigh in relief. Now, these are names I'm going to be making up right off the top of my head. Dang, I should have thought this beforehand. Luna, Air, and Faye. Alright, I'm back. The 3 girls were saved by their teacher, and they had just been training to help themselves in pretty much any situation. And the girls were thankful for their teacher. He gave them the essential needs to live, food, water, and trained them to protect themselves. And it was like a father to them. He even gave them tegus when the corruption era was gone, and that will be another story for another time. Speaking of teacher, let's just say the girl's teacher was the hero of the Empire, a member of Night Raid and the son of Jada. Now, you already know who I'm talking about. And close to the rank of a general, Naruto. And Naruto, he changed up his looks a bit. Instead of having his blonde hair, he changed his hair to look more like his mom's. And his purple eyes are now slitted. So, yeah. And with that, he's going to be wearing what you see in the in the picture here. Just imagine this picture, but Naruto with white hair and purple slitted eyes. So, Naruto, he gonna be having two Tegu, being one of the strongest people within the empire, and that will also be another story for another time. And so Naruto, he had broken out of his shell to a person he is right now. And yeah, he still has PTSD of his past and all the abuse that he had been through. And it was hard for him to move past those wounds. But he had help with the people that cared for him and cared about him for who he was. Alright, back. And, they helped Naruto enjoy his life and move from his past. And Naruto, he was training his 3 students for the afternoon before they checked on their traps on catching danger beast fish for dinner. He was proud of what his students have done and was happy to take care of them for these 2 years. He saw them as his own daughter, as they saw him as a dad. The age didn't really matter to them. They were just happy, and we'll leave it at that. Naruto, do you have any fruit for dinner? We had nothing but meat for the past 2 days. Luna said she got to her feet with her friends falling behind her. I don't see the problem with meat, but some fruit won't hurt. Eric agreed. Meat's good, but some vegetables should be added. Come on, Naruto. Faye agreed with her friends on the change of dinner. And Naruto, he sighed with a small smile and said, alright, but I'm going to have to ask Akane. She's the cook and makes food for the table. We'll talk about it later at dinner. First, we need to see if our bait for the evening. Alright, they all said in unison as they followed behind Naruto to check on the bait. Soon, the group walked towards the fishing nets, or the fishing spot, I should say, and was set up before the training events that they'd be doing. No fish pools, but a stick in the ground that contact a big fish net that was cast into the river for hunting a big one, said little fish. A big one was needed to fill up some hungry mouths, and it was agreeable. Excuse me. Do you think we got a big one, Naruto? Luna asked, looking at the river to see any fish, but she saw nothing. Aaron and Faye looked in the water to see any fish, but like their friends, or their friend, they saw nothing. Hard to say, Luna, but I think we got something. Naruto said something was in the fish net from the water ripples that hit the shore, which caused him to smirk. Walking towards the net, he pulled the rope and it suddenly felt heavy. Meanwhile, meaning that someone was in the net for sure. Naruto smiled and he pulled the rope and the whole fish net fell out the water and was a massive danger beast fish coming out of the water, thrashing around. Whoa, this is huge! All the 3 girls shouted in unison with stars in their eyes and jewels coming out their mouth from seeing the massive fish. Well, this will be our dinner for tonight. It will make quite a good meal for all of us, Naruto said as he walked towards the head of the fish and punched it right in the head, causing it to die from brain damage. Yeah. Once the danger beast was dead, Naruto started to get the fish out of the net and carry it back to the village. The girls had picked up some fruit on the way by following behind Naruto towards the village. The Razi village had some homes that were surrounded by some rocky hills, trees, and other danger beasts, and it made for a good training ground for assassins and hunters. But a home for Naruto and the people they cared about. And the villagers waved as the group walked past, and they waved back. The people in the village never treated the group as kings or queens, but heroes and normal people. Naruto and his team treated the people back with fairness, and never abused them in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, soon after they walked through the village, to the forest, and finally to a mansion, Naruto and his foster kids, I guess that's what you would consider them, had finally made it back. The mansion was big enough to a house of a small army of trained assassins, but the house was used for a family and enjoy life in a peaceful area. Naruto soon saw that, he was getting a little bored around the place. And yes, Naruto has a harem, and I'm completely fine with it. And, the girls agreed due to Naruto is needed to rebuild a clan. And they cared about him so much, so yeah. He was later placed into the CRA. I'm back. Yeah, Naruto was placed in the CRA, and I don't have to explain what the CRA is. You know what the CRA is. So yeah, Naruto got like a few girls. Nothing, excuse me, nothing too big. Hey, and I should say for this, yeah, like I said, the harem isn't that big, and wasn't meant to be that big. Just keep it simple around a nice 3 to 4 girls. Keep it simple like that, because I don't need to give it a big number. Hey, Foxy, girls. Leone shouted happily and got up from her seat. Oh, hey, Leone. Naruto greeted back with a smile on his face. Leone, she jumped on Naruto and hugged him, and Naruto returned the hug, and they started making out for a little bit. So yeah, to Luna, Aaron, Faye, Leone is pretty much their aunt, or that's how they would see him. But all right, I'm back. Excuse me. Anyway, Leone, she gets off of Naruto and greets the little girls. I see you girls have trained very well with Naruto, Leone said with a smile on her face. Seeing the girls have grown quite strong with their training. And they're like, yeah. And we're also having, or we have, I think we could have changed the dinner plans a bit, Era said as she and her other friends took out the fruit. Yeah, we know that Akane would love to cook meat for dinner, and it wouldn't hurt to pick up or ask for some fruit. Luna agreed with Faye nodding her head as she ate the apple. Luna smiled with a chuckle knowing the girls very well and understanding the whole situation. Yeah, Akane loves cooking, but no one has a problem with her cooking. But, you can just change it up a bit from here and there. True, but I think having fish for dinner would do just fine. Don't you agree? Leone said she allowed Naruto to finish cutting up the fish. Agreed. And our catch of the day should do just fine for dinner. Naruto replied as he took out his hunting knives and started cutting open the fish for food. If Akane or the others came back from their hunts, then we're going to have a big dinner, Leone said with a smirk, knowing who is still hunting and the outcome after the hunt. And the 3 girls sighed, knowing that the dinner they was going to have would be danger beast meat again. But they was happy, but with the dinner plans, they could eat some fruit before dinner. Naruto smiled as he got the fish set up and cooking started a fire to cook tonight's dinner. And all of a sudden, another group was coming with a massive danger beast being dragged into the front yard of the mansion, which got everyone's attention to look back who it was. And, three young women came out of the forest with tiger danger beast meat. They skinned their fur for the winter and meat to eat for dinner. Now, one of them was, of course, Akane. And I'll bring a couple of manga people in this story. Like, please don't roast me in the comments if I'm saying these two people's name wrong. Or at least this chick's name wrong. Cornelia. That's probably the closest I'm going to get. But, yeah. And, Keiko. And, Naruto, he worked with Akane as partners, later friends, and then, dating. And, Naruto met Akane when he was doing a mission before joining the Revolutionary Army and becoming the assassins for Night Raid. It was a small visit, but they did talk to one another a lot. And sometimes later joined the Night Raid, and the rest easy to tell. Also, it was Akane's idea to live in Roxy Village main mansion and act like normal, or act like a normal family for once. But nothing is normal, and that's great to them. Naruto met Cornelia and Teiko during a small mission and stopped both of them from killing each other. And Naruto saved both Leone and placed the Orberg assassin into his watch for protection from the Empire. Later, the two assassins told Naruto that they had feelings for him, and yeah, the rest is history. Now that's taken care of. Back to the story. Akane, Luna, Air, and Faye shouted happily as they hugged their mom figure, I should say. Akane didn't have time to respond, but dropped her danger beast to hug the little girls and smile coming back towards them. And she said it's great to see them again. Akane said with a smile as she hugged them all. And so, yeah, they was talking about how Naruto got this huge danger beast meat. And, Akane had stars in her eye and started drooling a bit from I'm seeing the big fish that they're going to have for dinner. We could have had some fruits or Luna offered but was cut off. Nope, Akane replied quickly. 3-year sweat dropped from their mom and her love for meat figures. Akane, Cornelia said, getting Akane's attention to look at her. Akane noticed or turned to her action towards Leone and see her pointing towards her lips, meaning clean up the drool off your mouth. Akane understood and then wiped the drool from her face. Good to see you're back, Akane, Cornelia, and Teiko. Leone said happily to see her friends again. And yeah, it was pretty much just having a freaking hug out. Hold up. Alright, I'm back. And Naruto seeing all this food and meat and skin around. He's like, I take that, you, Teiko, and I'm just gonna call her Korra, just in case I might end up messing up her name here and there. They've got more dinner. Naruto asked as he kept cooking danger beast fish as soon started the first fish for dinner. Yep, the girls are helping skinning the other tigers and should be here very soon. Dinner should fill us up for tonight. Akane responded as he helped Naruto cooking the dinner and put more wood into the fire. Naruto looked back to see Tenko and Cornelia brought the tigers to where he was cooking, and the other girls followed behind him. And Naruto smiled to see that they was helping him out a bit for the dinner, because ain't no way in hell he's just going to be doing all this by himself. So, anyway, time skip. The Danger Beast meal was pretty good. All of them were pretty filled up. They all just pretty much chilling, watching TV in the big ass living room with a, I would say, 60-inch flat screen TV. And before anyone else or anything else, but alright, I'm back. Before anything else, a sound of a bird was tapping its beak, uh, its beak on the main window and got everyone's attention. Air walked over towards the window and allowed the bird to fly and land on her shoulder. It was a black bird that had a note on its leg. Being a messenger bird from the Empire, Naruto, the bird has a letter on its leg. Air informed as she allowed the bird to rest on her right shoulder. Well, let's see what she got for us. Naruto said, holding his right hand to signal his daughter to get the letter. Air nodded as she took the note from the bird. Once she took it from the bird, then it flew off her shoulder and landed on a nearby nesting area for birds to rest from their long travel. Naruto and everyone else had gotten letters from the bird or people, and they allowed the messengers to relax. It would be rude to let them not to rest a bit. Air walked towards her father and handed him the note, and Naruto took the note before opening it to see what the letter was for. And Naruto started to read the letter out loud for everyone to know. And yeah, it says this. To Naruto and the Northern team. The young emperor requested that the team in the north should return for important information from our allies in the eastern lands by the Prime Minister Run. I see, Naruto said after reading the letter and placing it in his coat for safekeeping. So, are we leaving? Faye asked with Luna and Air wondering the same thing. Naruto shook his head and said, nope, not tonight. Tomorrow morning. We'll have to leave for the Empire and make it in the afternoon, but for now, relax. And then we will all head to bed for tonight. Alright, all the girls said, understood the plan and packed some clothes for their trip back to the Empire. What information you think the Emperor has for us? Akane asked as she thought about the note and wondered what the information was about. And Leone, Cornelia, and Tenko share the same thoughts and wonder the same thing. What information does the Emperor have for them to share? Could it be anything? It could be anything. And Naruto will have to see it for himself when he gets back to the Empire the next day. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and said, I can't say for sure, but I have a feeling our allies in the East have told the Emperor Kodo something that got his attention and wants to share it to me. It has to be a good reason to call me back into the capital. Agreed, but I hope it doesn't take too long since we sent those letters to any surviving members of the elites to come to the Rosy Village. And I hope we ain't gone for too long, Cornelia said with a sad look on her face and lowered her head. Naruto and Akane looked at Leone with a understanding looks on her face and knew what she meant. And Akame and her sister and a friend were a part of the Elite Seven before becoming Red Elites. It's pretty much just an assassin group from the old Empire. And after the fall from the old Empire, the new Emperor had requested that the elite assassins to come back to the Rosy Village, or capital, I should say, to see if they could help with the Empire. And if not, well, we will know that part. Akane and Corolla had lost some friends during their time of work for the Empire, Some of their friends had died during the line of duty, and some were unknown. They wanted to meet their friends before judgment, and hope is a good thing. I want to look at the two girls and understanding look before, making out with them. He says to all of them, don't worry. You two will meet your friends soon. I promise to help in any way I can. And if you believe and have hope that they're alive, then they will come and believe that you, and as far as everyone else, they should be pretty okay, so you shouldn't have to worry so much. And they all said things as, they have a pretty much all-way hug out with Leone hugging his right side, Tenko holding his left arm while Kane just giving him a hug from the front, and you pretty much know how that goes. And so, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to end it right there. Yeah, 30 minutes. I feel like I had talked for long enough. And so, yeah, with that being said, I'm out.
Yeah, I keep a tool on me if they got a screw. Love they messing with my big homie. They must be a damn fool. I buy me some jewelry. Under pressure, I stay round the clock, tone fuller. Class clown back in high school. I'm in love with designers, Spencer taste. Lay him down the recliner, stay in place. And I keep a rocket. Got a 40 in my pocket. Niggas say that I'm the plug, and I ain't talking socket. For your love, run the race. Cockpit, I drive. Detour out of space. Never been so high. Used to feel in last place, but now I fly by. Dior on my way. Pull the trigger, he's fried.